So you just saw a flight for well under $100 and thought, there's no way this is real. Well, if it's being sold by Frontier Airlines, then it's actually not that common to find flights this cheap. If you've never flown with Frontier before, welcome to the world of a low-cost carrier. Frontier's business model is simple. They sell you a seat with a personal item, and that's basically it. Everything else from your bag to your bottle of water is extra. Today we're going to look at the hard stats on whether that cheap fare is actually a good deal, the fees that catch first-timers off guard, and what it's like once you're actually 30,000 feet up in the air. If you look at the data from the 2025 American Customer Satisfaction Index, Frontier ranked last among major US airlines with a score of 65, due to a number of reasons. It definitely doesn't help that Frontier was identified as the most delayed US airline, with 28% of flights arriving over 15 minutes late. Compare that with only 19% of flights late for Delta and 25% of flights late for American Airlines. Additionally, Frontier is known consistently having service quality issues, including higher rates of lost baggage and poor customer support service. However, even with all of these problems, Frontier still raked nearly $4 billion in annual revenue for 2025, which isn't bad given that it services much fewer routes than other domestic low-cost carriers in the US. In terms of price, Frontier is often 20% cheaper than even their budget competitors, and nearly half the price of the big guys. But as the saying goes, you get what you pay for, and in this case, you're paying for the bare minimum. So how does Frontier keep its base ticket fare prices so low? It's because they rely on ancillary fees, but as I'll explain in a bit, you can avoid all of them if you travel light and plan ahead. First, one of Frontier's main ancillary fees is related to checking bag sizes at the gate. If your personal item doesn't slide easily into that metal bin, they won't just ask you to check it in, but they'll charge you a $99 gate fee, which is the same price they charge for a carry-on. So measure your bag at home. The limit is 14 by 18 by 8 inches for a personal item. If it's a hair over, then that's basically a $100 mistake, times 2 if you factor in the round trip. Second, there's also a check-in fee, which stings if you walk up to a human agent at the airport to check in or print a boarding pass, in which case you get charged $25 per person. So instead, use the mobile app or Apple Wallet and check in 24 hours early to get the QR code on your phone. Also, on short flights, like my most recent one where it was just a one-night flight to Atlanta, I didn't need to pack much, so in addition to getting that boarding pass on my phone early, I got away with traveling with just one backpack, so I avoided any additional baggage fees. Once you're on the plane, the low-cost reality really sets in. Frontier uses what they call slimline seats. They're pretty thin and they don't recline, but they are pre-adjusted to a slight tilt, so that is one benefit. The seat pitch, which is the space between you and the person in front, is about 28 to 29 inches, which is okay for most people, but it starts to get tight for anyone over 6 feet tall. However, for flights under 2 to 3 hours, it's not something you really notice. The tray table is definitely smaller than the ones used on bigger box airlines. It's barely big enough for a tablet, so if you have a laptop or you're planning to eat a full meal, you're going to be a little bit space constrained. But again, if you prioritize flying Frontier on short flights, then this is less noticeable. One of the biggest losses, in my opinion, is that Frontier offers no Wi-Fi whatsoever. That's pretty rare in 2026 because a lot of other carriers, if they don't offer free Wi-Fi, they'll at least let you pay for it, like Spirit does. So unless you download multimedia ahead of time, on a Frontier flight, this means no movies, no messaging, and it also sucks that they don't really have power outlets on most, if not all, of their flights. So if you want entertainment, download your shows, podcasts, and audiobooks before you leave the house, and consider bringing a portable power bank. Lastly, when it comes to food and drink, nothing is free. They even do charge for water, which can run you about $4 to $5. So if you want to stay hydrated without this Frontier tax, then bring a reusable bottle through security and fill it up at the terminal before you board. While all of this sounds like it sucks, Frontier does provide a pretty good deal if you set your expectations low and your flight is relatively short. So if you're a minimalist who can fit a weekend's worth of clothes into a small backpack, and you don't mind being disconnected for a few hours, Frontier can be an incredibly good deal, and you can travel the country for basically the price of a nice dinner.